and let us all do we can to build a better future.
So, some interesting perspectives here. First of all, we know that a number of major retailers have been fighting for bankruptcy and have been having difficulty for a long time. Now, in fairness, this has been going on for years, and in some cases in some cases decades. Some of these major legacy retailers, they have so much capital, they have so much, usually in the form of real estate, that they're able to hang on even though they're perpetually in and out of bankruptcy, perpetually in and out of receivership. They're renegotiating everything. But it's, of course, accelerated and sped up this year. According to S&P Global, there have been 46 retail bankruptcies in 2020 through mid-October. We're looking at places like, JCPenney, J. Crew, Neiman Marcus.
Wow.
And, yeah.
I just even looking at the article, I saw the abandoned JCPenney. It just,
Yeah.
again, it reminded me of Market Mall in Indiana. Just, how sad.
Yeah.
Everything
Pier 1
is falling apart, and it seems like there's a video Kyle Kalinske put out a couple days ago, and I watched him like, oh, he must have seen some of your content, Lainey. And it's like he's going through all the things that are going to happen. We've covered on the show this winter how huge amount of restaurants are closing, huge amount of retail space is closing, huge amount of people are that had unemployment is going away, the ability to not get kicked out of your house in winter is going away. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, that's going to be terribly exciting, and we're looking at some of these bankruptcies probably extending into next year. The holiday season, as we know, a couple weeks back, we looked at it, 25% of consumers, I believe it was, said that they'd already completed their holiday shopping. Many people don't have any money to shop with, and they don't have any place to put the stuff, even if they could go shopping. So we have this happening. Now, Fast Company, again, one of my favorite business magazines, they're taking a different position here on this. They're saying, the retailers that are closing down, there's a lot of them, and this is probably a good thing because it was already a soft market. They were already hanging on, coasting. And this could result in space, which is limited in many areas, being freed up for other purposes. Now, this is what I'm going to say. I know people who have lost their businesses in this, who have just flat out lost their business, lost all of their businesses. I've known people who have lost their jobs. And by the way, their unemployment is still being held up because of the incompetence of the state agencies that are handling unemployment. I know people who are suffering mightily, and I do not, if I'm going to talk about this, I need to point out that I am looking long-term at this. This is not me saying that I think that any of this is good or that I approve of the way our governments have handled these lockdowns and shutdowns, locking down, shutting down businesses, making it difficult for people to go to work, yet not providing them with any real material or monetary compensation for the fact that they are no longer able to work and there's no jobs for them because their industry has been shut down. But I will say that if we start to see the acceleration of some of these legacy stores that have been, and retailers that have been coasting for years or decades in some cases, if we can say, okay, they're going to close down. We're going to free up the space. And yes, I don't like it when commercial space sits vacant. But what would happen if communities start putting pressure on local governments looking and saying, okay, we're not going to have this building sitting here vacant for a long time. What are we going to do with this space? What would happen if we could have, say, more housing?
Hey, that sounds like socialism to me.
More housing. The corporations, they need another slice of pie.
What about daycare centers or libraries or schools?
My
so
socialism alert's going off even stronger
really
now.
A whole lot of socialism here. Yeah, it's going to go along with those empty store shelves. Everybody panicked about buying the toilet paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, America is such a mess.
Yes.
And I'm seeing already the live stream chat just again state, hey, let's get UBI. Let's have UBI. And
Wouldn't that
even
be
Matthew
nice?
Burst, I'm going to quote you on this one. Scooby-Dooby UBI.
And what happens? Okay, you are a commercial real estate developer. You own a building that you haven't been able to rent. All right. Okay. We're gonna, okay. Some places like, I think it's Cook County, will actually give you a tax break if you have vacant commercial property. All right, let's put a stop on that. Say, okay, you got 3 months to rent that commercial space. If you can't, then you have to secure that space. You have to board it up. You have to winterize the pipes. You have to put in somebody in there periodically to inspect it to make sure that the building isn't being torn up. And if you don't maintain that building, well, I guess the city's just going to have to condemn it and seize it and use it for the community.
Oh wow, that sounds.
The notion of stewardship, folks. Look,
Yeah.
I don't have. You want to own property? I have no problem with that. I have no problem with owning property. What I have a problem with is owning property that becomes blight and allowing it to remain blight.
And I'm sure the city, if they did that, could find nonprofit groups and other people that are doing maybe a certain specific set of tasks they can do at a discount because they don't have housing costs, such as daycare, which would be really helpful at this time, with restrictions and such.
Do you want to know what's really crazy, though? Is the fact that if you go look at downtown Chicago, there's buildings and law firms that don't pay any taxes at all. And yet we got to pay the majority of the burden. of it.
No, technically, since it's I forgot the exact term, we actually pay their taxes.
Ah, that's right.
So,
Scooby Dooby Doo.
It's us meddling kids here, you know?
Ah, boy.
All of us meddling kids here at Hardlands Media,
Chicago.
aesthetically minded.
Chicago's
But we don't-
fastest growing independent
but
media
the idea
network.
of, we've seen this happen in some of the industrial areas of the city. We've had, areas that are no longer being used for heavy industry. They've turned into what they call in-business incubators. They've carved it up so that small businesses can go in and make use of that space. They've got things like they've got freight elevators. They can have people bring, they have loading platforms, places where you can get a lot of space in a safe, secure building for not a lot of money. Maybe that will need to happen at a time when we have to reinvent our communities in the wake of economic disaster.
that'd be a nice choice because we're always ongoingly trying to move into a bigger space when it makes sense. That would be we prepared for this, so we're doing okay. But I really want to shout out this comment from Allie.
Oh, okay, because you read my mind. 'Cause
Yeah.
It was really good. And by the way, Allie, I did get your email. I'm going to share it with Daniel right after the show.
Okay. So she says, they didn't even try to act lean. They weren't. Wait, no, I'm reading the wrong one in order. She's talking about how City of Chicago hosted a webinar for small businesses, and of course, J.P. Morgan was managing this call, and they're talking about it's okay to go into debt. Probably take out a loan with us, J.P. Morgan. Remember that name? And so they're talking about how they basically are having J.P. Morgan telling people to go into debt with them, which is, if you remember what I've been saying since and even before this all started, the people that don't go into debt are the winners. I mean, there's obviously bigger winners, but the people that don't go into debt by the time this is over are the real winners.
There are times when going into debt does make sense, but it's often very limited, and honestly, it's a gamble. You're making yourself incredibly vulnerable when you go into debt. I'm just pointing this out. You're banking on, you're gambling. You're banking on that you're going to get a return on that investment in some way or another, and you're making yourself vulnerable to your creditors. You've made yourself vulnerable to your employer,
Right.
and to your banker and that sort of thing. Do you really want to be doing that?
I mean, you should do it the correct way, like everyone else, and buy up companies as a vulture capital firm, put all debt on them, and then have them go bankrupt. That's the right way to do it. That's how the successful billionaires get it done. Thanks,
That's
Mitt
right.
Romney.